lighten it up, maybe make it a little fun, and then we'll get into questions. So, my first panelist, Shannon Brimacombe, been in real estate forever. How many years, Shannon? 29. That's a long time, guys. That's almost 3 decades to us. She's been in the top 25 agents for at least a decade, I think more than that, which is really hard to do. And last year, she closed $75 million. Can we clap? Okay. I feel like it's that good. And it's a very small team, which I think is important, right? A lot of times there's these huge teams with 40 agents doing that kind of volume. There's five. Yeah. So I mean, that is a big, big deal. Hi, I'm calling you Mikey because you know I will butcher your name otherwise because I'm always nervous when we start. So Mikey Malina, I've known her actually forever. We bought some land from her mom back in the day when I first moved here from Chicago. So I got a chance to get to know her parents as well. She comes from family real estate, which is very cool. How many years again in the business?
It's not where it is. 28 years.
Well, one of you guys go grab them out. Okay, thank you. Okay, 28 years. Also a pretty small team. Has a really cool niche we're going to talk about in a little bit. 41 million last year. 2 agents, 1 showing assistant. Okay, super cool. Audra Heller, who's my new best friend, had not met her until a couple weeks ago. We basically have parallel lives in a lot of ways. So I love her, obviously I love all of you, but we're new friends. Has a really good focus on community, which we're going to talk about. Also has a background from family real estate. Really cool team concept we're going to have her touch on, and 31 million last year. Yes. We're going to get a microphone.
Okay,
so.
yes.
Eric Craig, also a new friend of mine. We just talked for the first time, I want to say, over on Friday. He is super impressive. I'm going to let him share some of that later, but he's got a lot of cool things going on. He's built a huge team. But it's like a family, and listening to him describe it, which I think we see a lot of people build teams and they don't stay. And he's got people that stay with them, and so that's cool. So we're going to learn from him about teams today. And it's a ridiculously big number, 156 million, right? Okay, can we clap for all of them just really quick? Good Lord, I'm just going to hand you guys the microphone now. We're going to do a couple just rapid fire questions because I want people to get to know you just a little bit, and I want it to be a little lighter, and then we'll get into actual real estate questions. So Shannon. Okay, Shannon, need one. Favorite restaurant?
Oh, wow. Capital Grove.
Okay. Favorite movie?
Vacation.
Like Vegas vacation?
Yeah, like vacation.
Oh, Christmas vacation? Okay. It's classic. Can you quote lines from the movie? Later at the happy hour? Okay. Favorite drink?
Margaritas.
Okay. Favorite place to have them?
Pretty much any margarita.
Okay. So if you want to learn from Shannon, take her to a Mexican restaurant. And then lastly, and I like this question, what is a talent you wish you possessed that you don't?
Just being probably a little more outgoing. I mean, I know I'm outgoing, but sometimes I get in a room like this and I
Nervous?
get nervous.
Yeah.
So speaking publicly more confidently.
Is it cool to know that someone that's as much of a badass is a little nervous, right? We all are sometimes. Okay. Same questions? Do you remember them?
I've heard them all. Didn't look at them yet.
Favorite restaurant?
I like prime sushi. Okay. Margarita, fresh margarita.
Movie?
That's a tough one. Jeez. I like anything that makes me laugh. You know. Yeah.
Old school comedy?
Yeah. Let's see.
Dodgeball?
Yeah, that's maybe a little too.
Too you?
Yeah, maybe a little too bad. Oh, I love in winter to watch the holiday. I love that. Yeah, yeah.
And then challenge.
I wish I could sing. I love that. Yeah, I wish I could sing. I like to sing, but.
One of my best friends told me once that when I sing, it sounds like two cats fighting in a bag. I don't know what that means, but it doesn't sound good. Okay.
Right. Favorite restaurant would be Luna Aztec Grill. It's a Mexican restaurant up north.
So clearly a bunch of margarita drinkers, okay?
But I'm a rum and coke drinker. Preferably on the water. A lake boat, sailboat. I like apples, a little bit of coconut in there.
So I'm getting 1999 vibes.
Yeah, it's really yes. Talent. I would love to dance. I have a husband that can dance like no other, and I have no dancing rhythm whatsoever.
We'll practice later.
Provost.
Okay. Right.
Tito's and Tom. It's gonna be weird, but Black Hawk Down. I wish I was more organized.
From the $156 million news for the huge I gotta still have to send you that calendar thing.
Yeah, I'm working on programming.
Okay, well, we're gonna actually talk about real things that you're here for, but I just want you to get to know their personalities a little bit, and again, like Shannon said, even if you are a very successful person, sometimes this is a nerve-wracking thing. So feel free to give them claps and feedback and all the things, okay? The title was Niches, and we're gonna talk about that a lot, and then we're gonna talk about the market, because I have talked to so many of you in the last couple weeks that are struggling, concerned, having to change things, but we'll talk about niches first. Every one of them is good at many things, but there's definitely something they focus on that has really helped them grow their business. For Shannon, we talked about farming. She has become a ninja at farming the neighborhood she lives in, and a couple other neighborhoods around there that have a high turnover. And can you share, Shannon, a little bit about how you market to them, how often, and any other details that would be helpful?
I do the monthly newsletter in my neighborhood and have for, gosh, I think 14, 15 years. And there's a publication that goes out every month, and I do a full page ad in that, and it has all the solds and actives, pendings, market stats. And then I do the community events that they hold at the clubhouse, and then I also do various mailers when I get either a listing or sold, so I do a just listing, just sold. And that's been very good for my business. I probably get 7 to 8, 9 listings out of there a year, and the average price point's about $800. So I have just continued to do it. A lot of people say farming doesn't work, and farming does work, but it's not even for a year. You have to do it for a long time.
So do you mind sharing either what percentage of your budget you spend, or even a dollar amount if you're comfortable? Because I think a lot of people hear that and they think, I don't know if I can do that.
So the newsletter is great because I think I spend $5.50. It's a full page ad. That's great. And then when I do a mailer, I use Every Door Direct because I'm kind of cheap. And so instead of spending 72 cents a door, I spend about 22 cents a door through Every Door Direct, which we have to do a little bit on our own. Then so we have to, make the flyer and print it. And then we have to take it to the post office, and when you take it to the post office, those are done in increments of hundreds, so you have to, there's a little work involved, but it's a huge savings, so I don't know, I'd say at least $5.50 every month, but if you look at 800 times 8, it's a great return on investment. And then the community events, that's like bringing cookies, or, they might have a Halloween parade around the lake or something, and I'll bring, gifts or treats or toys or something like that.
How many of those do you do?
I would probably do 3 of those a year. And then my husband is a member at the club, and that goes he's like every day I'm there. Oh, you Shannon Brimacombe's husband. Oh, blah, blah, blah. So just having him at the club and being a good golfer, I'm not, so that helps.
Do you, I don't think we'll get stuff.
It's working.
we'll say, hey, do you have a house to highlight, or do you have a listing to highlight? We've got free two open pages for you. You know, if you want to highlight a home. So being there for so long sometimes allows me to get some perks here and there. But all the other small stuff I pay for. You know, the donut drive that we do with the kids the last day of school, we provide the donuts for, I don't know, 500 kids or something. It's not 500, huh? Stacy does this in Holbrook too.
A bunch of donuts.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
Maybe share one or two other events that you've done, just to give people an idea of what you're specifically.
so Lionsgate has a lot of events to do, but you can create an event on your own in your neighborhood. Lionsgate has, 10. I mean, they have the Fall Fest, and they have the Santa Claus at the clubhouse, and they have the Easter egg hunt, and they have the fall cookout. But one year, my team decided we were going to do a dumpster drive, and it was outrageously successful, but almost too successful because there were so many people that showed up that we overused the dumpsters, and they were filling up so high that it was coming out of the top of the dumpsters, and the Homes Association presidents were calling us. We had to get a second dumpster. And the neighborhood loved it, but we bought the dumpsters and we advertised when we were going to be there, and so people would come and dump their junk. We have now been a little more organized in doing that, and we have a specific day and time and pickup time, and we're there during the whole event passing out donuts or coffee or whatever. So we managed it better since the first year. But that was awesome.
It's weird how much people love those trash parties. And I would tell you, I help coach a lot of agents that we work with, and they want to start to do events. That's the first one I tell them to do. Because it's really pretty inexpensive, and everybody has crap.
And they remember it. Then they're like, are you doing that next year?
Well, they count on it, right? If you do it as an annual event, they plan for it.
Now my neighborhood is doing it. They took my idea and they're doing it.
Anything else you want to share for somebody who might be getting started farming a neighborhood? Any tips, anything you did wrong in the beginning?
Oh God, so many things. Yeah, I can't even describe, but just you'll learn from your mistakes like we did with our dumpster. Just doing something consistently so that they know you, and being there. Don't just say, hey, I'm going to sponsor and give money. Show up at the event, because then they have a face and a name. You can hand them something. I see people that sponsor the neighborhood events and never come. And you need to be there and be present and interacting with the public.
Okay. Mikey, as I mentioned, I met her through her parents because we bought some land that we were going to build on. And she grew up on some land. She was a horse gal. And definitely has a great niche in homes on land, and also specifically horse properties, where she has created a network of other agents who refer to her who don't know how to manage the type of property, because it's very, very specific. So would you share a little bit about how you got into it and how you have leveraged it?
Well, oh gosh, that was loud. Yeah, I grew up south of DeSoto on 10 acres. I showed horses competitively since I was 4 or 5 years old. And I've lived in Prairie Village. I went to Rockhurst, so I understand all the different phases of that. So it was probably 2018, and we were having an inventory issue. And my business coach said to me, "What's your biggest issue?" And I said, "Inventory." And that's kind of when it started showing up, really, 2017, 2016. And I had a large piece of land listed, because we have a land division, we have a luxury home on land is typically what they are, and then the residential division. So, and the land breaks down into multiple things of, recreation, hunting property, someone wants to build a home on. So we took this 40 acres that I had listed and created a 3-acre lot subdivision, and found a developer for it, and just little things like that I take the land and try to create inventory for, selfishly for my own clients and for all of your clients as well. And it's just been a helpful way to create the inventory and serve my clients. And they all circle into each other. Usually someone's selling land and they want to move in town. In town, they want to move to land. So we have to be able to be cognizant of all of those different markets. So that help?
Yeah. Do you market to it differently than you do your standard database?
Yeah, we also farm. We have a couple of neighborhoods that we have a large market share in. And to piggyback on what Shannon said, all of that, they also have to know you. Like they're not, people send mailers out, but they don't actually know you. You haven't gone to where they are, and I see people spend a lot of money just on mailers. They never get a listing in those areas because nobody knows them. So, I did events and try to help them, give them information of what they're concerned about. Out in Western Johnson County, we have a really large market share out there for land and homes on land. And we'll do a community event, something when Panasonic was happening. They were terrified about how it was going to affect their property values. So we just had coffee and donuts. They're usually older people out there.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I thought of that because we live out there.
You're out there. And we just sent out a mailer. Mailers work so well. I mean, people think, oh, that's old school. No, you have to reach them where they're at. You can specifically market to that. So we send a lot of mailers to little postcards and invite them, or of course, calling them too. So we just try to give as much information in those areas that we can of what they're needing. So
I just want to highlight something that she said because I think it's important. We are all old school, right? We've been in the business almost 3 decades, most of us. Mail is back. If you're not mailing, I would tell you you're not in business. And I understand that it's expensive, but people are bombarded with emails. You used to be able to get them via text, but even now that's not a thing, and a lot of times they'll opt out because they don't necessarily recognize who you are.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're not mailing, or if you're not setting aside some money in your budget to mail, highly encourage you to do it. Especially if your special envelope looks like handwriting in the front, because it always gets opened and everything we get is trash. So if you get something that's not trash, it's 100% go. Yeah, stamps are going up again, so buy them first. Anything else you want to share?
No, I mean, other than that, I have also created, when agents, like you touched on, you have a client or you're at a dinner party or somewhere and someone says, you might like to buy land or something like that. And if you don't know anything about it, there's so much liability with selling land. If you don't know anything about it, usually you just kind of let it go. And it's you just left money on the table and the opportunity to help that person get with someone they want. So we actually help a lot of agents in Kansas City with their clients, and we've worked really hard to create a really good relationship with co-op agents. If someone sends me their client that needs to go buy some land, I always say, they're going in our database, but only for land, and they're tagged with your name. If they reach out to us and they want to buy or sell their house in town, that's what you do, I will say, because this person is so amazing that they saw that you needed the right help, you gotta call them back. And my relationship with the co-op agents is so much more important than, I'll say as important as my client relationships, because we're gonna come in contact with each other so much more often than even our own clients. And there was a lot of bad behavior during COVID, so with Steve.
I'm sorry, did it end? Did I miss that memo? Did that behavior?
No, I think you witnessed it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm guessing. So, I mean, our memory is long, I would say. So just always remember, play nice in the sandbox. We're all after the same goal, to help our clients and achieve what they need and keep all of us out of real estate jail.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I always want to highlight that. It's a big percentage of our business and our referrals from other agents, and I think that's a part of the business we forget about sometimes, right? You can do business all over the country. You have partners all over the country. You just have to create that. So thank you, Shannon. Audra. Hi. Hello. Very community-based, involved in everything, charitable boards, Rotary, Chamber. When you were describing it, I was having anxiety, wondering how you do all of it and manage that many people, right? So you're very community-based. Maybe share how you got connected that way because you were in California, yeah? California for a while and then came back to Kansas City and had to sort of start from scratch.
Correct. So I worked at the National Golf Club in Parkville, and part of my role there was to get very involved in the community of that golf course community. And I think that was the concierge service that I learned from that opportunity and getting involved. So yeah, I'm past president of the chamber, I'm on the board for Hillcrest Platte County, and I do a lot with my kids. I had kids at an older age, so I'm an old mom, and always went, I wanted kids to market and use and utilize. So my kids have business cards. Yeah, my youngest wanted to be the janitor, so he's the janitor. And my oldest is, what do we put him, like professional development. And so he's my little mini me and a little chatterbox. So I utilized my kids, and even at the school, we did advertising and marketing. If you want to buy or sell a house in 20 years, call us, and it's a cute picture of them. If you want to buy or sell now, give our mom a call. So I milked that as much as I could when they're young. They're now 12 and 14 and start to get zits, and it's not as cute anymore. So anyway, so we're still working on it, but I'm very involved in their middle school and high school, and doing kind of community events as well. I figured their school is my farm, so I do sponsorships. I have banners. We participate in the golf tournament, the auction. I've had frisbees made, so at the mother-son football tournament, we give frisbees away, things like that. We're working on some things for the high school. My oldest will be a freshman, so we're doing some different narrow-focused for that specific high school of football schedules, basketball schedules, and getting in contact, because I don't have a name there. I do in my kids' elementary school and middle school, but the high school, not yet, just assigned. So getting more involved in that. So between that and the community involvement, I forgot who it was, someone that said they do candles. I also work with a local candle maker and give candles, and one of the things with the Hillcrest Platte County, they do a big annual gala every year, and so all of the donors and sponsors for that event, each person gets a candle, and instead of Pickwick's name, it's Audra Heller's name and Audra Heller's scent. So it's something targeting my luxury market, because I do luxury as well. You get a Pickwick candle, thanks to your sponsorship and involvement, and Pickwick works with me on that too, and labels it my own scent, even though it's really not.
I want to touch on two things you said. One, the kid marketing does work, so if you have children,
Absolutely.
do it. We do a lot of events at our children's school as well. My youngest is 12, and so they get invited to these events where there's lots of people, and his friends will come up and say, "Hi, Jen Gile, your mortgage partner for life." They just repeat my little tagline all the time, and they think sometimes that we're a bigger deal than we are because they're coming to these things, but they're talking about it, and their parents are getting stuff from us as well through the kids. So I was going to give you a tip, and any of you a tip, if you want to market to the school. We started doing magnet calendars of the days off, because kids literally don't go to school. There's 147 days off, and it's on the fridge the whole year, and then we have a QR code on the bottom where they can go and grab it off. I have people text it to me every year, and they're like, "Thank you, Jesus, for this," because it's hard to keep all those days straight. So just marketing.
Jody, can you make a note of that?
I'll send you.
Jody's on my team.
Anyone who wants the template, just email me.
I love it, that's great.
It's in Canva. It's would have taken 40 hours for me to do, so yeah, it's been very good for us. So, and you stay all year rather than a sports schedule that's just shorter seasons. So, anything else? Any tips? So, you went to California. I moved from Chicago. Didn't know a lot of people. Getting in the groups for me was key. It sounds like it was for you. Any advice on specific things to get involved in that you found the most relevant? Because like we talked about the chamber, and we can meet a lot of people, but it's not business cards.
Yeah, it can be a make or break. It's whatever you do, be passionate about it. Get in an organization that you can get involved in. Don't just be a member in a directory. You want to be present. You want to go to the meetings. You want to network. Make sure your CRM is set up to send out monthly updates. So like I went to everyone on the Hillcrest board. Hey, I'm a realtor. Don't want to be that used car salesman, but I love to come from contribution and provide information to you. If you would like a automatic monthly email, if you don't want it, no big deal. My feelings will not be hurt. Yes, they will. And then I just set them up on a monthly update. And it's funny how many people will jump on it and look at it, and then I'll reach out. Is this annoying? Do you want me to delete it? And they're like, no, I was just curious what my neighbor's house was selling for. So again, it's just not being the used car salesman and coming more from the luxury, and I'm a concierge, I'm providing you information, and rarely do I have people unsubscribe, so. And if they do, they're not my people.
It's okay, sometimes we can release people back to the environment. It's okay. Okay, Eric, and again, I was very impressed by what he shared with me, because we didn't know each other. I want to move to Park or Smithville so that I can be invited to his events. He has the largest market share in his market. I'm sure you know. What is it?
It's 38%.
Okay. I can tell you for a fact, you might be the only one, but there are probably 5 people, agents in Kansas City, that have that level of market share in the market. Truly. Because we track numbers, we see people's numbers. That's incredible. You're doing a lot of community events. You have one especially really cool party. Share how you're connecting with those people, how you're inviting those people, and then how you get those people into your drip so that it actually turns into business in the future.
Sure. So 10 years ago, we started doing client events, your normal holiday events, and then we kind of transitioned to adding another event in the summer. That was a Royals game. As our business grew, our client database grew, and next thing I knew, we were having a Royals event, and it cost $70,000. And these were like cheap seats, but we had, I think, 800 plus people that came that year. And so spending that kind of money, we had vendors that participated and helped out with that, but it's still a lot of money. And so I just thought that there's got to be a better way that we can do something as an event for our clients, our database, and then also like the public. So like, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. And so those of you that have been to Smithville know that we have a pretty charming, beautiful downtown. A little partial, but it is really nice. So what we started to do, we started what's called Festival, and we're in our 6th year of doing that. We close down the downtown for the day. We invite the whole community. We're on the radio. We invite everybody. You guys are invited. So we have vendors that participate, food, just fun activities for the kids, and then we have a headliner. So we've had like Diamond Rio, Phil Vassar, we've had Chris Cagle, some food, and some different things from us and our team and our vendors. And it's something that now not only do our clients look forward to, but the community looks forward to it. So like our phones start ringing and saying, hey, when is Festival this year? I was talking to Jen, and it's really kind of hard to track, see what our return is on this. But I do know that it pays for itself. It's definitely not a money maker. There's things that we've done to cut some costs and expenses to make it more profitable for us, so we're not just losing money, but it's been really great for us.
But some of that is creating your brand, and if you didn't have such a recognizable, respected brand, you wouldn't have that market share. So it is hard sometimes to justify exactly how much business comes from these things. Just like a normal client event, you invite people, and it's about the invitation, not about who comes. Sometimes we get business from the people who don't come, and we don't get business from the people who do attend, right? So it's anything else that you've consistently done to build, or that you did early on to help build that brand quickly? Because 7 years you said you've been doing it, or 6 years?
This is going in our 6th year. I will add that our database, our CRM, had about 88,000 people in it. It's over 42,000 now from these events.
Okay, so here's a good question. How are people checking it? Because I see people do events all the time. I grab an info, and then they grab the info and they do nothing with it, and I'm raising my hand. How are you grabbing the info, and then what happens to it?
You mean when they contact us?
When they show up to your event, right?
We'll do raffles and various things like that. I mean, there's just some curiosity that happens too. I mean, they'll see like the VIP area. They'll come over and try to get free drinks. That's no problem we have. But we just interact with them, like whatever they say here. You gotta be present, you gotta be willing to talk, you gotta have your name badge on, you gotta know who you are.
But do people have to sign up to attend the event? Do you have a check-in table where there's?
We do for our clients, and then we invite them to bring people, and so
Okay.
that helps too, so we get them into our database and plug them in that way as well.
Okay, so you're capturing the info, you go in the database, and then they're just on your drip?
Yes, they're in our drip in that way.
Okay. Do you have different stuff that goes, I'm assuming you do, to clients versus the random database people that you don't know yet if they're a client?
Yeah, we have, A level, B level clients.
Okay, and we'll get into this a little bit more later, but just for reference, guys, how often are these people being touched?
At least 3 times.
How many?
30.
30. And is mostly email?
Mostly email. There's four calls, personal calls.
Okay. And are you doing other events as well that are not as large?
Yeah, so we're still doing our holiday events, which are a little bit more intimate with our closer clients, and that's always been great as well.
A lot of different ways to do business, right? Isn't it kind of cool how there's 4 different personalities, 4 different styles, all super successful? Anything else you guys want to share?
I would like you to know that Eric also does direct mail because my parents get it, and every time they get it, they give it to me. By the way, they're my SCI mentors.
See, mail does work.
Mail does work.
It does work.
How many of you guys mail? Yeah, everybody. Yeah. So again, if you're not mailing, and I know many of you are not that I work with, I highly encourage you to start.
I went on a listing appointment last week, an elderly lady in her 70s, and she had probably at least 15 of my postcards. It was a little weird.
That's what I'm saying. Is it like our show you, you're all over the fridge? I love it. Anybody else want to share anything else? Okay, let's move to market shift. I hate that word, but I don't really know any other way to say it. It is happening and has been happening. Many of you have chatted with me about it. I'm in several mastermind groups where it's been the topic of discussion the last few weeks, right? We went from crazy fast, drop what you're doing, hair and fire, 90-second offers, $1 million asking price ranking, everything, to sellers still think that's a thing, and buyers are still kind of reluctant because the rates are high. They still are, it's not affordable. So it's a very weird time. Everyone that's up here has survived 2007, yeah? Okay. And how many of you guys remember were in business at that time? Raise your hand for me. Hi, if you were just It's not a lot, okay? If you survive that, first of all, you're a badass. Second of all, I think you can do anything because that was a really hard time. I'm not saying that's what we're going into, but I'm saying these are people that can shift and make the changes they need to make to survive any market. So let's talk about that. And every single one of you, I want to weigh in on this. What are the conversations that you're having? Let's start with sellers. What are the conversations that you're having now with your sellers? What does that sound like that's different maybe from a year ago? Eric, let's start.
I would say that, well, I'm going to go a little different direction. Sorry, Jen. I do this sometimes.
No big deal.
I think that a lot of us, after COVID 2020 to 2022 became very transactional, speaking about myself. We'd go to a listing appointment, we'd meet the sellers, we'd price a house, we'd list it, and then we'd have multiple offers. We didn't really talk to them in inspections, and we'd see them at closing 30 days later, and there were times I didn't even remember their names. Truth. I built my business off being relational, and so what that market reminded me is as we're going into this shift and change, that we are in a relational business. We're not a transactional business. And so going into appointments with sellers now, I think it's good to slow down and listen. Obviously, if you're selling or buying right now, there's definitely some motivation behind that. And so I think that taking the time to get to understand your client's needs and their motivation is key to honing up.
That was a perfect shift. Aside from listening and being relational, which 100% is how we all
not an agent that shows up with flashy brochures and pretty stuff. I'm not making fun of that. I think it's great. I am there to, again, listen, to learn about the clients, to walk through a gauge of what's really going on. I generally typically have an idea of what I think the value is, but I'm not there with market analysis. I don't know how, I don't think I'm capable of, before I get to someone's house, knowing what their house is worth without walking through it. I think it's great if you got some genetic ninja trick that you can do that. I don't have that capability, so. But anyways, I think that showing up and hearing again what their objective is, what they're trying to accomplish. It always helps me too if I'm in a competition against other agents, if they're interviewing other agents. It seems like sellers are more apt to just kind of tell you everything, just sit there and listen. So.
I love it. Honestly, I'm impressed. I originally got it down. Love what you're saying. Audra. So I am similar to a lot of the things that Eric said too. I like to sit down and hear where people are coming from. I am a numbers person. I love numbers. I love Google spreadsheets. I'm kind of a dork that way. But I love to provide them proof. And that is something that our team has really focused on this year, is using the word proof. Don't just listen to what I say, but let me show you. And so we will run potential estimated proceeds. We will pull up the comps. Here's what is sold. I still want to digest it, and I will get back to you within 24 hours. Is that okay if we get back to you? So we can dive in deeper into these numbers and look at price per square foot, features, things like that, as well as days on the market and whether the house sold above or below asking or at the original list price. So I like to share that information with them. And then one thing, kind of, I think you mentioned the word slowing down. That is something that I have liked as well. We're able to negotiate. We're able to provide that service. Mondays are my day, so my seller day that I let all of my clients know every Monday you're going to hear from me. It's going to be an email, a text, and or a call. And one of the things that our team has shared is there is a report in MLS that I have fallen in love with. And even when your home is coming soon, you can pull up how many client portals, how many times it's been viewed, how many agents. So I run that before we even go live. And then each week, because again, not every home is selling in a day, that I run that report and I show them, hey, we've added one more person because we did this, we did this, we did this. Or I sent out a text message to several agents that sell a lot in this area. Wanted to let you know, here's the message that we sent, and here's how many agents have viewed your home. Again, going back onto the proof, I had one client that we needed to do a price drop. I let them list at the price they wanted, but I was able to get them down to the price that I wanted because I showed them the reports. Okay, we've been on the market this many weeks. There have not been any other additional people. In fact, the 5 people that had hearts next to your home have all disappeared. And now there are 0 hearts. So it's location, it's condition, and it's the price. We can't change where you're living. We can't change the condition because it was a nice home, but we can change the price. And so those reports of me sending that every single week and then referencing it really helped. And they're like, absolutely, what should we drop it to? And we dropped it $65,000 and got it under contract within a couple days. So again, that was a luxury home as well. It wasn't a $300,000 home. We were in the 900s. So, but they are super excited and pleased. And I told them from day one, it won't sell in the first day. If it does, let's celebrate. But our market has slowed down. And here's homes in your area on acreage. This one was on acreage, and I showed average days on market to share with them. So we're having those, some people may say, tougher conversations up front, but again, I come from education and numbers and proof, and that's what we really try to focus on.
Yeah, ditto to all of that. We always start every Tuesday, our team has a team meeting and we say, what are you hearing out there? What are your clients saying when you're doing your lead generation calls? And if they say, not really anything new, they probably haven't been making their calls. So, right guys? So we usually look for patterns that are showing up. Our clients, the people out in the world, they're not that creative. Like there's about 10, 12 objections that we all could probably handle right now that they all hear, we learned new ones in COVID. But, so we also have to see where our clients are coming from. What are they listening to? What are they seeing? And just what both of them said, slowing down, asking the right questions. What do you understand about this? What's your experience with this? And seeing who they are, where they're at, and where their motivation is. If you go in and start, I mean, gosh, we used to do a nice PowerPoint presentation back in the day, and like this huge thing we flip through. They don't care actually about us. It's, are you gonna listen to them and help them get to where they need to be, and are you the right person for that? I'm a high DC, I love numbers and Excel spreadsheets for about 5 minutes, and then go do the job. So I do bring that if they're gonna understand it. And you can, if they're not that, if they're a high I or something that they don't like the numbers, but you need to show them this is why, this is what's behind it. Because, you know, the buyers are ones that actually set the price. And so we need to see where all that, where they are, who's out there, what our competition is, all of those things to help them figure out this is where we arrived at this price. But it starts with slowing down and meeting them where they're at, and being able to solve that with what they've heard and where they're coming from. I mean, I listen to Fox or I listen to MSNBC. Like, you don't know what where they're at, and no judgment on either one. Just, I'm here to solve the problem.
I wasn't gonna stop and highlight because you all kind of said the same thing. Every person is different, and it's great to have a system and have a way of doing things and even fancy brochures if that's your style. But some people don't care. And you have to be able to read the room. I was gonna say, meet them where they're at, that kind of stuff.
I'm
And if
different
you're not
ears for any personality type when I show up. If someone calls me and they're like super hurry and they're like very busy and this, and I'm like, I can just come right now, you know, whatever that is. Like, who are they? Trying to figure out who they are as quick as possible on the phone to go, all right, this is what you need, and this is who I show up as.
And there are patterns, right? I'm sure you guys see this. Like, I know if we're talking with a teacher, it's probably a 30-minute phone call. There's a lot of questions. They're usually very nervous. This isn't everybody, but it's 90% of teachers who get to it, right? So get some background information as well, because I think that also helps us communicate better.
I work with a lot of CFOs and engineers and very high number of people, and I'm not that. Like, I college algebra several times. Like, but my husband is that, and I understand how they think and how they listen. So I can speak to them of where they're at, and I know they're going to want to see the proof, like Audra said. And but we look for those patterns. Like, we knew everybody was complaining a couple years ago when the tax increased their values and their taxes were higher, and every agent was saying, call me, I'll help you fight it, and this. But we also knew that National Association of Realtors had come out with a study that said like 81% of the people that bought in the last 3 years during COVID were unsatisfied with their home that they're living in. So we did a video and we said, hey, your tax appraisal may be accurate, and if you don't love your house, give us a call, because you might have money in there that, and we'll help you find the right house for you. If you do love your house, that's awesome. We'll help you, you know, give you the comps if you need, if we think we can help you with that. We sold so many houses that people had just bought 2 years before because of that video. Looking for those patterns that are out there and reading as much as you can, educating yourself to know how you can solve whatever problem may be out there. Ditto. Agree with everything. I have, in just the last 30 or 45 days, have talked about aspirational pricing, and for the last couple of years, we all have been doing that because the market was going up. So we look at the next highest comp. If you were sitting in a listing and it was a great house, you're like, that one sold for $550, and that one sold for $570, and that one sold for $599, and you get $605. So that was yesterday. Today, aspirational pricing is gone. And so if I have, first of all, I always try to answer, or get the seller to answer a lot of questions before I go to the appointment, so I'm super prepared. So I stay on the phone and ask them things like, have you done any updates? What updates have you done? When did you buy your house? How long have you lived there? Why are you moving? Have you had a recent appraisal? What do you think it's worth? Have you been on Zillow? I want to get an idea of what they're thinking first.
Then that helps me when I do my CMA, because I might not appear to be a numbers person, but I really am. I do 2 lows and just rights and 2 highs. So I always have 3 2 high properties, the 3 just right properties, and the 3 2 lows, and why. So then I compare price per square feet and all that, and then I put all the pictures of every house in there too, of my 9 properties, if there are 9. So I spend a good, probably an hour and 15 minutes on a CMA so that I'm prepared, and they always say, you're the only agent that's come with this data. I can't believe you did all this work. I just called you last night. You did all this? And I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't I? Because I want to look prepared when I get there. I want to be the expert. I want them to know that I know my stuff. So back to the aspirational pricing, I either know that they want to price it right or they want to price it too high, and then we have this kind of conversation about the market changing, and that aspirational pricing is probably better in a POE situation. Hey, if you want to test the market, why don't we do that? Maybe not put it fully on the market, because we don't want the days on market, and we don't want all that history on there. So if they're adamant about listing high, let's test the market in a POE situation. Then they're like, oh, what's a POE? Or someone like, no, I want highest and best. Well, you know where we're going with that. So I do a very detailed report, and obviously I sit with most of my clients for at least an hour on a listing presentation. We walk through the house, and sometimes if they say, you know, I want this higher number, we have a Compass Concierge where we can give a client some money to make some updates to their home, almost interest-free, and then they pay it back at closing, and so they can get a better return on investment. And we do that a lot. I probably in this last year have used our Compass Concierge, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 times. The sellers love it. They come back in their house, they're like, oh my God, the white paint is great. It looks like so open and airy and bright. Yeah. One guy, I took a listing over, the house wasn't selling, it was too high, and I told him why. You know, he was using Jerry Starr's house as a comp. I said, dude, like, do you know who Jerry Starr is? So anyways, I got him right on the price, and then I said, listen, I had this house listed 15 years ago, and it didn't sell, went into foreclosure, and it's still the same paint. I said, have you done any painting? He said, no, and I said, we need to. So we painted 3 rooms, and they were the rooms that you see when you enter the home, so it made just this awesome impression. And I had a light fixture in my garage that I had just replaced my breakfast room, and I said, I got this light fixture, I'm just gonna have my painter hang it. We changed the light fixture, and we staged, and literally we had, I don't know how many contracts we had. Well, I think we had 4 offers. It's under contract, and now they're gonna move closing date up to the end of this month. The guy loves me. His house wasn't selling. I educated him on the market. I showed him the pictures. We did the Compass Concierge, put it on the market, had a ton of interest and a ton of offers. I am a big, numbers data person, and so I like to go in with everything. And sometimes I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I say, you know what, you kind of told me this house wasn't as nice, and I'm kind of knocked out. Do you mind if I get back to you within 24 hours? I said, because I really think that you comp better for a house in the links, even though you're in the enclaves. And that's where we take it, then I ask for 24 hours and come back with the comps. But that's rare that it's so great. I'm about to underprice it. So, and I've kind of gotten away from the aspirational pricing. Just price it right to sell.
Love that. So let's talk just briefly about if you have to do a price adjustment. How are you handling it? If the person is on the phone, how often are you evaluating it? What does that look like?
We just typically send the price reduction and don't tell them anything.
Hey, you know what? There are people that do that.
I know. No, we're normally having conversations typically because either they're not getting showings or they're getting bad feedback, and that's something I cover in advance too. I said if we've had 10 showings and no offers, then we need to adjust price or condition. If we're not getting second showings or any showings at all, that's a problem too. And I talk about that in the listing appointment, so that when it's time to adjust the price, all it is, hey, we kind of talked about this. If it's not sold in XYZ time frame, we were going to reduce it 10. Are we ready to reduce? Yeah. Send it on over. Let's do it. Okay, we'll remarket it. Let's get this baby sold.
Anybody else have a different strategy?
No, I was going to say in the consultation, it's all set up and you're talking to them. understand this is a normal market. Don't you guys agree? Like, we're in a normal market. The interest rates were on the clearance rack before, and that's why things were crazy. So people were buying just because interest rates. And, but setting it up beforehand of like, yeah, 10 showings, we used to say 10 showings, 2 weeks. 10 showings, no offer, 2 weeks, no showings. Well, now it's less than that. Yet, you know, they're prepared for that, and it's an easy conversation. So, yeah.
Love it. And this is slightly off topic, but I will say, people talk about the rates so much because you guys talk about them so much. I'm serious. And lenders, stop talking about it. Never in my life have I bought a property because of an interest rate. People should never buy a property because of an interest rate. You buy because you need to move, or you need a larger home, or downsize.
That's how we survived 2008, 2009, because, I mean, Maslow's hierarchy, you need housing, you need shelter. Like, people are moving because of life cycle changes, and that was just a weird blip on the radar for real estate. So start thinking about where people are at and how you can help solve their problems.
What are you guys, any different strategies?
Similar, same thing, just talking, showing them the numbers. And sometimes if I agree to go on the higher price, then I do a change form of, we're gonna drop the price in 2 weeks, are you agreeing to that right now? And I have them sign that at the same time as listing the house. So that way we automatically do a price drop.
Okay, so Eric, then I have a question for you, because everybody's sort of the same. Let's say you have a seller that is not reasonable, not listening to advice. How long are you hanging on to this client? When do you get more aggressive with the conversations? What does that look like? I'm seeing that with some of our agents happen right now, so how do you handle that?
So when I do price reductions, I'm doing those in person. Now, I'm not calling on the phone, I'm showing up with that data. I believe that when you're across the table from somebody, you get a better read. You're gonna have a better outcome, and so those challenging conversations definitely need, in my opinion, be in person.
Are they coming to you?
No, I'm going to their house. I always try to go to their house. I will only have people come to my office if I feel threatened by them.
Do you feel threatened by that people?
It happens sometimes. I'm from the north where you do things differently up there.
Okay. I'll remember that if I come to your party. When do you drop somebody? Or do you?
I was just thinking about that. I don't think I've fired anybody in a while. I get challenged by people that are really difficult. Maybe the competitive side of me comes out. I'm like, okay. And then I've got 25 agents that work for me. If I give up on a client, I think that's just a poor reflection of me. I think I need to show that I can endure it, and not just because I financially can. I don't have to deal with them, but I think that's a bad image, a bad look.
I think you have this like eye thing where you just tell people what to do and they're doing it. Are you feeling that? What do you say?
We do have a no asshole policy. So if they're terrible to Jackie, helping them get ready, then, we don't need to keep that going, because that's the honeymoon stage. But also, we don't really have that happen anymore, because I think I've become more, focused and confident in what I'm doing, and be okay to push back. You're a professional. You're the one with the information, and own that. Like, demand that. Like, in a kind way.
I always kind of joke and I'll say, you want that price? Well, wait, let's just sign a year listing agreement. And they kind of look at me and they're like, oh yeah, let's sign a year listing agreement. And I'm like, huh. So you kind of have to joke with them because you're like, hey, I can't sell the house for a year. What do I do to meet you? And then it kind of like breaks the ice. They're like, okay. But then they're kind of like, she's obviously doing something.
I think what's cool is they're casual, right? I think everybody gets really nervous and worked up and feel like they have to be this uber professional person all the time. And obviously we have to be professional. But they're all just talking to them like people and joking, sitting across their table.
I have an alcoholic client right now that is, I don't take his calls after 3 o'clock because he's,
I wasn't expecting that.
I gotta make sure that my video on for he's not shooting this. Ethan, this can't be this. But anyway, so I know I'm not taking his calls, but I purposely call him first thing in the morning, like at 8:01, because I know he's just hurting real bad. Yeah.
It's a little passive aggressive, but I like your style. Okay, let's flip onto buyers, because I feel like there's a great opportunity for buyers. We see a lot of buyers, obviously, and there's still a reluctance because, again, more rates, or it's expensive, it's not gonna change. Either one of those things are gonna change for a bit. Are you actively marketing them a different way now and talking about the opportunity, and how are you doing that? Eric's passing it off.
We try to think outside the box and do a couple different things. We'll do either social media or postcard mailings if it's a subdivision that we sell a lot in, and we say we have a buyer, and this buyer is X, Y, and Z. We all see those signs that you buy ugly homes and this, that, and the other. We want to show more facts of, again, following the laws and different things like that, but they recently moved, or they're upsizing, or they grew up in this area. I have one that specifically wants Riss Lake, and so we've done a mailing. She grew up in this area, now has a family of her own, wants to move to the area. So we give a little more specifics to show people that it really is a real live buyer. And then the other thing is we are doing buyer consultations. We sit down, they have to come to our office. We sit and go over the buyer agency. Why do you have to sign this? What this means? And I also give them a cancellation agreement as well. I want you to know that it is super easy to get out of a buyer agent. A listing agreement, it isn't once you've signed the contract and a loan agreement. But I also have not been able to quite figure out how to read people's minds. So I expect you to be honest with me and to tell us if we've messed up. Let us know so we can learn and grow from the situation. We want open communication from both sides of the partnership here, and that we are a team and we're not against each other. We also go over different ideas of how to win in multiple offers, and we give them the sheet of here are our ideas and things that have won for us. We need you to go through it, tell us what you're comfortable. If you're not comfortable waiving inspections, fine, don't waive them. It's not the end of the world. We've gotten several clients approved that are VA loans, that others that are not waiving inspections and things like that. Just know you have an option in homes. We also like to show them and educate them on how quickly some of the homes are selling. So you need to know in a day. We're not that agent that's like, you gotta buy this sign here. But we also are educated, yeah, this house isn't gonna last long. So if this is one you like, we probably need to write an offer. With the market becoming more normal, I love it. We're able to negotiate off the sales price. We're able to negotiate inspections. Like, how many people in this room have been doing inspection negotiations? It's so fun. I love it. So it's, but we're actually able to represent our buyers and do things like that. But we haven't been able to do that. We, in the crazy market, it's sign here, sign here, sign here. So it's nice to show value to them. And on the seller side as well, you're trying to sell a car with 4 flat tires, and you're trying to sell it at the high-end price. So let's maybe reassess and look at this. Do you need to put new tires on the house in order to get the price that you want to get? And so with our buyers, just sitting and going over all of that, that's where we tell them, we're going to be 110% on this with you. It's your money, it's your decision. We're going to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly on the helm and run comps and those things too.
I think a lot of it depends on who that buyer is. Are they coming from our database? We know that 76% of our clients come from our past and repeat and referral business, our database, and 24% came from new business last year. So who are they? Do they already know us? We're keeping in touch at least 34 times a year with our database. So we're meeting them, we're catching them where they are, and they're gonna contact us, hopefully when they're ready to do something. So they reach out to us. If it's a new person, everybody gets a buyer consultation. I don't care if you're my best friend or I've never met you before. You're getting the same buyer consultation, because if you don't do that, things are gonna happen down the road when you get to inspection, when you get to appraisal, any of those things that can take it off the rails. And you've already invested this much time. If you did that work up front and explained all of that to them, then it makes it so much easier. So do the hard stuff up front, it makes it easier in the long run. So the second thing I would say about that is working with the co-op agent. Shannon and I did a deal recently, well, a couple years ago, I think, and it was not priced very well. And Shannon and I worked really well together to help her buyer get with my seller in a price that was going to work, and it was a win-win for both of them. So working together and not being adversarial, we get a lot of buyers under contract, Katie and Eric, because we're like, okay, it's not pretty, it's not perfect. Are there things that we can fix easily and helping them see through paint or carpet or easy fixes, and you're gonna be able to get a deal on this house because the other agents missed it, or it's been on the market for a while. There's probably nothing wrong with it, right? Everything can be fixed, time and money sometimes, and they might be willing to do that. So be willing to, as a buyer's agent, to look for a house that can be as pretty as the one that's lipstick on a pig, that maybe not a good house, so. Right?
I just want to touch on something she said real quick. The first part is the consistent piece, right? Yeah. We call it our Chick-fil-A process, right? Every person should get the same thing. Because what if they were referred by their best friend? And their best friend referred them by saying, oh, she came to our house, and she did this, and this, and this. And a lot of times, that's why they're calling you, because of the service that their person received. I think the consistency and the lack of process is a big problem, and it takes stopping to set that up, for sure.
Yeah, and you have a process. It's just not written down and formalized. So you have all these, things that you're already doing, but they're not repeatable and scalable. So take the time to create that and make it easier. I wasted so much time, like creating it every single time. Yeah, so get that done, for sure. Yeah.
Shannon, anything more to add?
I agree with everything everybody said.
The biggest thing that you pointed on, and it doesn't matter if it's buyer or seller, but it's your relationship with your co-op agent. And so things aren't always easy in business. They just don't always go right. But if you have a good relationship with a co-op agent, that deal is probably gonna get done. So be nice, work together, communicate. Sometimes you need to pick up the phone and not text. Texts are yes, Monday, 2:30, that's that kind of conversation. When you're negotiating repairs, which now we're getting into negotiating repairs, inspections, and you need to explain something and here's why, get on the phone, guys. It'll save the deal.
I thought I'd just share a couple of super quick stats with you just because it may be helpful. So we track a lot of things and we sent this out last week. This was for June, and this was the percentage of contracts that closed with seller concessions. Because I was noticing we're getting a lot more contracts with that, we've seen that all the time. So Johnson County, Kansas, 20%, which is a lot, I thought. Jackson County, Missouri, 49%. 49%. That's for June. Jackson, Kansas, 17, Cass, 27, Wyandotte, 39, huge amount. So it goes on Leavenworth, 33, Clay, 29, Platte, 24. So the lowest is Johnson County, which makes sense, but the rest of them were pretty high. Yeah, and it's an opportunity for your buyers, right? I mean, not suggesting we tell them that this is absolutely going to happen, but we are seeing it happen more, and there are a lot of people who are on the sidelines because they don't think they can afford it. So I would be talking about this if you're not. I would be looking. Say again.
Like, show them that they can afford it. Like, we love that when a client,
We love that when a client says, oh, the rates and this, I can't afford it. How do you know that? Like, they don't know, so run the numbers, show them actually, and they're like, oh, really? That's not that bad, I can do that.
And truly, this is not a plug for us. You really have to have a good lender, whether it's us or not. People are drowning in debt. I don't know if you guys know this, but the amount of calls we're getting for cash out refinances and HELOCs and all the things, and they don't think they can move because of that. And they come to us, this just happened 2 days ago, I want to put down 20% on my house, but this payment's too high. Well, they have 2 car payments that are $1,500 a month. Why are we putting down 20%? One car's a day, 1 car's a night. We're gonna put down 5%, we're gonna wipe out your cars, and they've eliminated $900 in debt a month.
And They have a 20% credit card interest rate, and they're afraid of 7% on a house. Like, cash out, pay that junk off. And, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that's another thing for people that don't want to move because they have a great rate. They also have a lot of great debt, and it's not at a great rate. And that's not judgment, it's true. We see thousands of people's information. If you're not talking about that, that should be part of the conversation sitting at the table. Okay? Let's move to teams, because I know we're getting close on time. Eric and I talked about this a little bit, and I personally believe this. I think we're moving into a time where teams are going to be more important than ever. Doesn't mean you can't be on your own, doesn't mean you can't be a solopreneur, I get it, but we have to be a salesperson, a marketer, an internet genius, a data person. It is very hard to have all the hats. So let's talk about how you started the team, when you made your first hire, any bumps along the way, because to me, building a team has been the most challenging.
Well, we have a very small team, and Stacy's been with me. Stacy's been my best friend for 31 years, and we are 30, something like that. Sorry, I remember the numbers, but we have kids the same age, and now my daughter's in the business, and I have a small team. When Stacy called me, I thought she wanted to sell her house. We've been best friends and worked out a lot together, and so I just figured she wanted to sell her house, but whatever Stacy did 110%. So when she said, I want to go in the business, I'm like, yeah, great. And at that point, I was doing about $9 or $10 million a year, and my broker kept telling me, you need an admin, and I'm like, yeah, right. Well, I really did. I mean, my husband was like bringing me dinner at the office, and I was working till 8, 9 o'clock at night, and I had 3 kids, and so Stacy joined me, and it was at the point in my business when I really was I didn't know what to do. I was exploding, and so she joined me, and it was perfect. And her and I went along for a long time, and then Jerry Reece came and said, hey, I want you to grow your team, and I said, I don't know if that'd be a great idea, but we did, and at one point we had some part-time moms, and we looked around, and Jerry was saying, hey, you need, or maybe not Jerry, I think it was Don Burns, who said, you need an admin. So we fired a couple people, we hired an admin, and we got processes and procedures in place, which was critical. And we grew our business that year to 10 million because we didn't have any processes in place. We were just flying by the seat of our pants. Every deal was different, we didn't know what we were doing, but then we got an admin, and then she got us organized, and then we got a database. I know, 10 years in the business, we got a database. We're walking around with cocktail napkins, things
Sticky
written
notes,
on.
Shannon, sticky notes.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I mean, trying to find a color of a paint color that somebody said they needed to paint their garage in, and that was 10 conversations ago. I'd be like, green, and they'd be like, it's like 10,000 green, Shannon. I'm like, yeah, green. So anyways, I hired this admin, and she got us super organized, and well, that wasn't the one that got us super organized. We went through several admins, which you need to find out who works with your personality. And we have found a gal, and she did leave us for 1 year, and it was horrible, and she came back. And it was right during COVID, because I told her she needed to come to the office, and she moved to Chicago, so we thought that wasn't going to work. Well, ironically, everybody's working from home then, so then we asked her to come work for us, and she could work from home. She's moved back from Chicago, and she's never been to the office once. It still works. So we've kept our team small, and we've kept it like a family. So we all work the same way. We almost can finish each other's sentences. We trust each other with our lives. So if somebody goes out of town, we know somebody on the team's going to cover for them. And we know Lori's going to dot every I and cross every T. And she's the one that has put our processes in place. So if you're thinking about starting a team, I'd say you have to have the business, first of all, to have a team, and then you probably need an admin. And there's several different, everybody's here about an admin. There's so many different ways you can pay them. You can pay them out of the transaction. That's why I didn't do it for the longest time. I thought I was going to have to pay her salary, which I do, but you can do that even out of a transaction. So it doesn't feel like you're writing the check every month.
And I think it's important to say that sometimes you need that person before you are ready. And sometimes you need them before maybe feels comfortable to afford it, because it is very hard to scale to the next level without it. And those of you that are in the room thinking that you're really good at paperwork, I know that there are a bunch of you out there that do. I'm here to tell you that most of you are not. From the lending side, I'm just being real. Like 75% of the contracts we get have errors. Name spelled wrong, address wrong, signatures missing, pages missing. It's not judgment, it's just we are good at sales because we're good at people. We're not supposed to be touching paper. So an admin is integral. Just say it. Not judgment.
And realize, if you don't have an admin, you actually do because you are the admin, and you're probably terrible at it. So, and just think about it, you're hiring someone just for 3 months. That's all the money that you need to have saved to pay them, because it should be boosting your business 4 times what you're paying them. So expect that money back. And my business, I tripled my business when I found the right admin. And I had so much business, that's when I brought Eric in, and he, it was right before COVID, and it was great because I couldn't handle all this. So start with the admin side first, because that's gonna help you. I'm very passionate about our P&L and our net profit and just tracking that. I want people on my team to become multimillionaires. How can I help you guys do that? And looking at what's your goal for the year? I'm just not gonna pick $100,000. Like, when do you want to retire? How much do you need to have in retirement? We have such a great opportunity. We make really good money, and for really what we do, if you're smart about it. And are you being careful? Are you keeping track of that money? Are you investing in yourself? Are you watching that and just making sure that what you're paying for postcards and all that stuff are you getting a return on it? And just keeping track of that money, because we've known a lot of people look like they make a lot of money and they don't have any money necessarily. So 75 years old, still selling real estate, is that what you want? That's great if you do, and that's your choice. So have that freedom, right? And you get to choose what you want. So be careful with that money, because we're making pretty good money if you guys all agree with that. So track that and get an admin that will help you. Do it right away, because if there's anything I could do over again, I would go back to that. The other thing I've realized is because we're so good at instantly getting someone to want to hire us right away, that we're also not very good at interviewing and hiring. I'm speaking for myself, I'm the worst. Because I'm immediately fall in love with everyone, and everyone fall in love with me right away, because why would you not? This is awesome, hire me, right? No, I'm hiring you, and you're gonna come work for me. So I've empowered my team to help with that. We interviewed someone yesterday, and I was like, guys, come on. So we're not very good at that. So just be aware of your shortfalls and what you can get other people to help you with, so is what I would say.
I have a couple quick follow-ups. The team is important, because I get it. I said yes to people, and they told me no when I ignored them, and they were always right.
Right.
Always. And they're the ones that are gonna usually have to be working with them. I'm out.
Yeah.
So, how many units were you doing when you hired an assistant?
Oh God, I wasn't really tracking anything either. I was just like Shannon said, flying. I was just doing everything that I could. I mean, that's how my mom worked. She was crazy, just working nonstop and didn't really have a business. And then I was like, no, I want to have a business, and I have a business. So,
$5 million.
I think when you start to when you feel like you're losing clients through the cracks because you can't keep up with them, you can't.
Or you're at the office at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, for sure. But hire a transaction coordinator day one. Like, why are you doing that stuff? Yeah. Don't mess with that, because you're going to be able to we get busy, you stop lead generating, and then in 3 months you have no business. We see that time and time again. If you're not doing that junk, you can keep lead generating when you're showing your habits.
I wanted Eric and Audra to talk about teams as well, but there are so many topics in there we don't have time to touch on, but I want you to hear P&L. I promise you that there's 20% of the people out there that have one and know what it looks like. And that's not judgment, it's just because I've been doing this for 27 years. And tracking. And hate tracking more than anyone hates tracking. But if you don't track, then you don't know where it's coming from, you don't know where it's spending time.
It takes the stress out of your life. If you know what you need to do every single day, and you do it and you're done, or you get that done for the week, you hit that goal, it just makes so much, and you can see where your breakdown is. Like, oh, how many appointments did you need to get this week? I only got one. Oh, you called this many people, you went on these appointments, but you didn't get them signed. So, okay, what happened there? So you can go back and see.
You can go back and see where the breakdown was and how to fix it and helping your team members. I'm sure Eric can talk to us a lot more about 25 people, yet, you know, you can help them figure out how to be successful better.
Well, and I think Eric's a tracking ninja, so I'd love for him to touch on that. How many of you even know your conversion? So, our teams, either one of you, yep.
Well, so I can't take credit for that. So I always hired my weaknesses. So I've got operations manager Audra Allen. I've worked with her since around 22 years. She was my first buyer's agent. So she's the one that does all of our tracking for our business and conversion. She's our agent's mentor, coach, all those things. So I can't take credit for that.
But you hired her.
I hired her because I knew this when we get that. I started my real estate team in 2014. That year I did 114 transactions by myself without an admin. It was an absolute shit show. I didn't sleep, made a lot of money, but it was miserable. So my real estate coach was telling me for 2 years, which is Brian Eisenhower, I don't think you know him here, but he's a great guy. He kept telling me like, hey, you've got to start a team. You need to leverage yourself. And for me, I think it was my ego was in the way because I just felt like I was just so good and my people would want me and there's no way that I could give sway to a buyer's agent. And then I found out like if you have the right people to actually like them better than you. So from there, we just transitioned. So my first hire was a buyer's agent and then an admin. And from that moment, just indicating what weaknesses we had as a team and wanting to grow, we hired and recruited to our weaknesses.
I was gonna add to that.
Not just growing the team, but you can't do everything. So again, hire people that are better than you. I know nothing about social media. I'm horrible, and I argue with my daughter daily who does my social media. She also sells. And I'll be like, post that. Why didn't you play the Eagles song? And she's like, it's not a trending song. You're not gonna get views. And I swear,
She's like, Mom, who are the Eagles?
yeah, well, kind of. So she knows social media. I don't. I mean, you can tell when I do my social media and Grace is out of town, because you can definitely tell when she does it. It's far better than anything I can ever put out. And I would absolutely choose the wrong music. So again, just surround yourself with great people that make you look good, make you shine.
I want Audra to touch on something specific because we talked about this a lot, and this is a mistake I made earlier in my career. The people that we should treat the best are actually the people that work with us. And usually it's our clients, right? It's not them. That's our team, our spouses, our partners. There are sometimes the ones that get the worst. You do a very good job of loving your team, lifting your team, so maybe share a little bit about that.
So I had worked for developers for years and then got into the business, and it's ironic that we're talking about teams and the first person that you hired, because the first person I hired is sitting in this room, Miss Tiffany Allen. And Tiffany and I started working together, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to create a team. I didn't know how to compensate them and pay for them and all the things. What is a blessing in disguise is I've learned a lot and I've grown. I also had Brian Eisenhower help me and coach me. And it was at a point in 2014 that I went to a seminar that he did. He's like, do you have a P&L? What's a P&L? And I haven't had accounting since college. And really taught me how to run it like a business. And I decided at that time to switch brokerages. Miss Tiffany, I am still good friends with you. I respect you, and it's super fun to see you at these events and knowing we helped each other. But she made a choice, and I wanted to support her in her career of, I get it, stay. I need to go, because I needed to learn. I needed to get my learn on and figure out how to do things and run a team. And he was also the person that told me, hire an admin. And that was the first hire, and I was scared to death. I'm like, I feel like I'm shaking now and reliving it. That's what I did. Do I make enough money to pay for an admin? And I took out home equity line of credit on my home as my emergency fund in case I couldn't make payroll. And he sat with me on every single interview, and afterwards we would assess, he would go over the questions. So if you're a single agent or a small team and you don't have an admin, find someone who can be a mentor. Find someone that will sit in there with you. If you want, call me, I'll sit in and help you. Because that was the best hire I ever made. And in fact, she has since retired, and I was late today because I was writing an offer, finalizing an updated offer for her. So taking care of those people that you were with, I have made mistakes and I've learned and I've grown from them. I've had coaches that are like, if you have a buyer's agent, they're not selling 24 homes a year, you need to get rid of them. Do I? Really? Because some of them have a special niche or things. One thing working in new construction, it was very cutthroat. It felt like a used car salesman because they were compensated based on whoever talked to them first. That is exhausting. It is very rare. And I'm like, I don't need that. I want a team, I want a culture, I want a place that you can go on vacation. And one of the rules on my team is you're required to go on vacation without your laptop. And if you can't do it, we may not be the right team for you. And the reason I want that is our brains and bodies need a break from this business. We work 24/7. You deserve it. You have earned it. I have an agent right now who is in Africa on a Rotary exchange, and she was so nervous about leaving. I've got 2 of her clients under contract, and she's got the same split as if she wrote them herself. And I do. Thanks to Miss Jody Carey. She's my director of operations, and I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for her. 2 years ago, I took 3 weeks off and took my family to Denmark and Sweden. We were gone for 2 weeks in March to Australia. And yeah, I check in occasionally. The Australian trip, I had to do 1 call. But it was my choice. It was an elderly lady, and I just felt like she needed care. But otherwise, no, I shut down. And I tell my clients, I let them know I'm out of town, but I have a team. So you're taken care of. Here's who's going to be showing you loans. Here's the group text message I'm setting you up on. Here's my admin, here's my TC, whoever it is. I'm shutting down because you need me to shut down. And
Yeah, I'm glad for that, because that's how it should be.
thank you. I also tell clients when I meet with them that I'm getting at that age, even though I'm only in my 50s, that I need to shut down at night, and my brain doesn't operate as well as it should after 8 or 9 p.m. at night. So please know, if you're texting or calling me, unless we're negotiating a contract, I'm gonna call you at 8:01 in the morning and talk when my brain is the most alert, because the last thing I wanna do is give you advice at 9 o'clock at night when I'm not thinking clearly, and it be bad advice. This is your largest financial decision, and I'm better in the morning than I am at night. Unless we're negotiating, again, I will make sure I take an energy shot, stay up all night, but and do what I need to do. But otherwise, if you're calling me about an open house or feedback, we're not talking at 8 o'clock at night, especially if you're a drinker, because we've had those too.
It's after 3 for Eric.
Yeah.
I think that what you said is extremely important, and I am going to say this, and people might disagree with me. It is a lie that you are telling yourself if you think you have to be available 24/7 on this job. And I can always tell the people we work with that are disorganized, because I get the 8 o'clock, like they're chaotic. It's their issue, not mine, okay? You are not great if you don't ever rest. And by the way, like I said earlier, the people you should be loving the most, your family, right? Like, you can't have a phenomenal business. People I know that are the most successful have as much balance as you can have. It's never even, but it's boundaries. It's,
Absolutely.
hey, I have an appointment at 6, but I am free at noon, okay? Most of the people we're working with are not surgeons. Oh, I'm only free at this time. Sorry, that's a lie. I'm happy to talk to you at 6 in the morning, but at 6 o'clock, I'm gonna be at my son's baseball game, because I'm not missing it. And not to be braggy, but I'm in the top 500 lenders in the country. Don't miss anything. We'll never miss anything. And especially since we've talked, you lose someone important, it changes for you.
One of my biggest concerns when I was getting into the business out of new construction, but being in the resale business on my own, were the number of people around me getting divorced in this business, and it scared me. I had a 2-year-old and a newborn, and people were getting divorced, and it scared the living daylights out of me because I was that mom. I was sitting down till 1 o'clock. Our date night would be he's on his PS5 and I'm sitting there making videos and doing stuff, social media posts and all the things. That's how we spend our time together. That's not okay. And that's one of the things, when I switched, I learned I need to get a business coach to help me and teach me what I needed to do and to make time. And one of my coaches that I have now, I told her my goal was to have bleach your butt. She's like, what is that? I'm like, I want to be present. My dad was a workaholic. He still works. He's 84 years old and goes to work every single day. I wanted to be at my kids' sports events. I wanted to be present for my husband and my children. So I may not be making the millions that I've tripled and quadrupled what I've done, but I know I'm present for my kids and my husband, and we're a team, and jumping through that and hiring people around my weaknesses. That was the other thing I think you talked about, your disc. That's one thing I learned through a coach is what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses, and make sure you hire around your weaknesses. And that has been the biggest takeaway I have had. And let go, let go, let go, let go. Let them theory if anyone's read that book.
I want to make sure we have a few minutes at the end for questions, so let's do a couple rapid fire things. People always want to know what you're using, what's your CRM. Let's try to always be quick so we can get through a couple.
Okay, my CRM is Brevity, love it. I'm addicted to it. It does the mailing, super cheap. It does the transactions. It does the lead gen. It's super user friendly. All of my team, I love it.
How many of you have heard of Plaud? P-L-A-U-D. It's awesome. So I'm really geeking out over AI. I know it's frowned upon by some people. But if you don't know what Plaud is, I would Google it. Basically, it records conversation meetings, and it will give you bullets of your notes, or give you to-do list. It's very, very simple, and I go on listing appointments and I use this. And I throw it into ChatGPT and tell it to do what I want it to do. And then I send that to my clients within an hour or two after I leave. And they're like, oh my God, how did you do that? I didn't do anything. I prompted AI to do it. So I'm really geeking out over that right now. I use it for development meetings, builder meetings. I could have done it right here. I could have recorded this whole thing and it would have taken care of itself. It does cost a little money. I think it's $15 a month or something like that for a certain amount of time. But it's something that you should check out. It is absolutely amazing.
P-L-A-U-D.
Plaud, P-L-A-U-D. You can get it on Amazon. You have this little geeky credit card looking thing that you have to flip on right here. You just flip a switch, go to the app, start it, and then it'll convert your meeting and your notes into a PDF. So, like when I go through a listing appointment with my clients, I tell my clients that I'm taking notes, and I'm verbally walking through the house and just talking out loud, and it's breaking everything down for me. It's awesome.
Has anyone ever heard of that? That's amazing. Love it.
My other thing, sorry, since the mic's going across, is a Remarkable. If you haven't and don't have one, it is the most amazing thing ever. It is a notebook, digital, you handwrite. There you go, there's Remarkable. So turn around behind. I freaking love it because it's my client notes. And what's amazing about it is I have all my clients in a location, and even if we're looking and we're not sure if we're gonna buy or sell, I can go back to those notes the next time I meet with them, and it's all right there. I don't have to go on a computer or anything else. I have them filed, archived, all of that. And if you do have little kids, it's fun. When we're at restaurants, we do hangman and silly things like that with it. Each of my kids have their own page in the journal area too. So Remarkable is a great tool that we use every day.
Okay, so we use Brevity also, which we love, and we started using Slack a few years ago. It just keeps everything organized because we lose stuff in text message, so every client has their own channel, and whoever's in the deal is a part of it. And it also keeps us with KREC, okay, we keep things separate. So if a buyer's agent on our team brings an offer on that listing, that everything is separate, and so there's no issue with compliance on that. And one of my other great tricks that I love is my voicemail converts to text message. So I did that years and years ago. I don't have to listen to their drama. I can just read it and solve the problem, because half of it is the voice and the drama. And like, I just want to solve it and get on with it. So that's my other trick.
I'm gonna leave you a really long voicemail tomorrow, just for fun.
Well, I'm not really a techie person, and I'm at a tech firm, and pretty much they do everything for me on the platform, and it's all done A to Z. So my admin and I speak to each other, and she can talk to the client. I know where I'm at with my business and business tracker. I can do an amazing flyer that would have taken me 20 hours to hire experts to do on a $5 million listing. I can have that out the door within an hour and straight out, and to be printed and back within 48 hours. So I just use our entire website. It's awesome. I don't have to have any extra programs because it's all sitting there for me, and everybody knows I can barely turn my phone on. So it's easy, please.
Okay, and one other thing that I use for my P&L is a company called ReProfit, ReProfit. And my credit card and my bank account are linked to it, and I have a call with them every other week, and we go through my P&L, and it's real estate related, and so you're able to see quickly you don't have to do anything. It's like the easiest thing for a P&L, so you track it up.
That's good. Okay, let's do one more real quick and then we'll go to questions in the crowd. What do you read? Who do you follow? Are you coached? Like, who is helping you stay up to date, and what are you using to share your marketing?
Say that again.
Too fast?
Yes.
Okay. What do you read? Do you listen to podcasts? Do you have a coach? Are you following certain people? Like, we're all having to always come up with constantly marketing and be aware. So what are your
Currently reading a book, and the whole team is reading, called Unremarkable Hospitality. Amazing book. Just talks about going the extra mile. My husband always says this, that the extra mile is never crowded, and we all should be going the extra mile for clients. They are spending a lot of money. This is probably the biggest transaction in their life, unless they own and operate their own business. So that's one of the greatest books that I'm reading. I've always take away from Lakshmi in Life's Lessons. It's a simple book with just simple anecdotes that are easy to incorporate into your business.
coach? Do you have a coach?
No coach.
So Lakshmi Life Lessons and Unreasonable Hospitality is the name of the book, Will Guidara. Highly encourage you, and if you have a team, to make them read it, because a lot of times we get it, but the team also has to get it. The client has to feel that high level from every person that touches them. Okay, so tech, coaching,
I almost always have an AirPod in my ear, whatever I'm doing, like listening to something. I am always educating myself, whether it's a podcast or Audible. I pay for Audible because I will fall asleep if I'm reading a book, and I'm always listening to something. We recently, I went and spent some time with Phil Jones in New York, and he wrote exactly what to say, and it's a really amazing thing about how do you get your client to, or how do you help them, asking a series of questions. And we did there's 20 of us, and we were with him in his New York office. It was incredible. And so that's something our team is reading, exactly what to say right now. And it goes a lot deeper than the book. Anyway, it's a good book. And one of my favorite books is called Tribe of Millionaires, and it's reads like fiction, and it's really, really good. I love it. So, yeah, I think that's
one of our future events is maybe going to do with Phil Jones. So yeah, it's a great, it helps you learn how to speak and use the right words. And sometimes we say things and it doesn't come across the way we want it to. So opposite.
One of the things that we focus on is being positive, and one of my favorite authors is John Gordon. And a lender had introduced me to the Energy Bus, and that is something everyone on our team is required to read. And it talks about, is your position on our bus the right position? Are you going to help push the bus up over the mountain? Do we need to move you around? If we get a flat tire, are we all out there helping? change the tire, or are some people just sitting there and staring and watching? And the energy bus is one of my favorites. All you have to do is sit and watch television and you get completely depressed. Everything is so negative right now. And so we try to keep our brains and our minds focused and positive. So Energy Bus is my favorite. I listen to his podcasts. Being a female, I love Mel Robbins. There's some others that I watch. I do have a coach. I've had coaches since 2014. Some were through Keller Williams and the MAPS coaching program. Others are Brian Eisenhower has his own. If you're not in his Facebook group, he has a lot of great tools in his Facebook group. So, and then I'm on different groups as well. My current coach, I call her a brain coach. She has helped me more with my brain and decisions and handling things of, what is a fact, what is your feelings, what is actually going on, and then what is the outcome you want. There are many times when clients come or people come in your life and you're pissed off at them and they're doing the wrong thing. Okay, what is the outcome? Do you want to have a future with them anymore, or are they dead and you want to fire them? Then you make the action plan based on what you want the outcome to come. And that has really helped me, having that coach, is just really working through what's your outcome. Like, I'm frustrated with this person, we haven't done this and this and this. Okay, well then fire them. Can you survive without them? Well, no. Okay, well then you need to come up with another solution. Is it you, or is it them, or is it a little bit of both? What training have you provided, things like that. So I am a big believer in having a coach and a mentor, and yeah, it can be thousands of dollars, but you know what? It makes you a better person, a better leader, and gives you tools that that really help you excel.
We do a book club every quarter, so 3 books I would say probably were most impactful for our team would be Micquelyn, Atomic Habits, and Green Lights. Ladies tend to like the audio version of that one better. Get to hear his voice.
Eric, will you say it again? Because
So Miracle Morning, Atomic Habits, and then Green Lights, Matthew McConaughey's book. And yes, I believe in coaching. I'm a strong believer in coaching. Would not be where I'm at today if it wasn't for real estate coaches that I've had over my career. That consists of Brian Eisenhower, like Audra says, he's got a pretty good social media platform you get on. Brian's one of those guys that just shares everything. I've coached with John Chaplik, super amazing, talented, he's a genius. And then Jordan Freed is my coach now, and I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for him. So.
any
I coached with Jordan for 10, 12 years. Yeah, he was awesome. Yeah, mindset and all that.
I don't know if we have time for questions because we've run long, but any last, maybe number 1 tip you want to leave with them with, or piece of advice, or something positive?
Oh, heavens. Just be yourself, everybody else is taken.
Yeah, get some leverage and stop thinking you have to do it all on your own. I co-listed a property with a new agent who's very seasoned and doing an awesome job right now. And when he first started, and the co-op agent was the worst and calling him up all the time, thought he could bully him. He called me up at 8 o'clock at night and go, hey, if you're like your spouse, your goal is to not get divorced. So stop talking to me and get back to this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, and calm down, it's fine. It's all good. So, if someone's being a jerk, it's probably get some help, talk to someone else about it, and get some leverage.
Leverage, coaching, and treating others with respect. One of the things I switched brokerages, and I loved their motto of work hard to be kind.
I think for me, it's just kind of mindset, being relational, purposeful. I'm a big believer in who you surround yourself with, is the identity of who you are, what you're going to become. I can tell you that in 2007 to 2009, when the housing market was terribly difficult, I was in kind of a smaller office of 40-some people. I was pretty young at the time, but one thing I picked up on is that misery loves company. And us as real estate agents at the time tend to just sit around and bitch and complain a lot, and then everybody's just kind of being pulled into it. I figured out pretty quick that I just put my head down, I just walked away from those conversations, and I stayed away from it. I didn't need to hear it. I stopped watching the news. it's not that I don't want to be informed, but, you know, I needed to show up every day, not only for my family, but for myself. And I think we're kind of in that market again, where if you're around the wrong people, it's like the crab in the bucket mentality. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but you know, a group of crabs is not gonna let another crab get out of that bucket. So identify who the crabs are and boil them.
I love that. You guys give them a round of applause. Thank you. We are super grateful for you guys for taking time. I know you're busy. I love that everybody up here, you're the same but you're different. And I just said this before at events. You can have success in this industry so many different ways and so many different personalities. Just grateful that you trust us to spend time here. We'll send out the full recording to everybody so that you have it in case you want to go back and listen. I will send out a follow-up as well with the books they mentioned and just some other little snippets of advice because I know there's a lot, you maybe didn't get it all down. And if you would, if there are people you want to hear from, whether it's your peers or like Phil Jones, like we talked about, we're looking at bringing in a person who teaches people how to build a business they can sell, right? Because you guys built this huge business and then you just retired. And so I think that's an area that there needs to be more training. If there's a topic that you care about, please let us know. Give us feedback, respond to the invites that you get, because we want to bring you things that